Hey guys, it's Michelle. Thanks for joining. This is obviously the Cozy Egg podcast, and you can find me at my blog, cozyegg.cozyeggdesigns.com. You can also find my lifestyle, fashion, etc. blog over at cozystyle.cozyeggdesigns.com. You can find me on Ravelry, Twitter, Instagram as Cozy Egg. So thanks for joining. This is episode 6, and today is Sunday, June 21st, and it is Father's Day. So I hope that you all are enjoying time with your father or your husband and having your children join you to celebrate the day. Father's Day is kind of a hard day for me because I lost my dad a few years ago, and his birthday is also right before Father's Day, so June is always a little bit of a tough month there for a couple of weeks, but I do think of him quite a bit. So anyway, it's been forever since I recorded. I was trying to stick to a 2-week, recording, and stuff just seems to happen. So I try to record on Sundays because that seems to be the day that works out best for me, and Eric is usually gone, so I can set up and do my thing and not have anyone in and out bothering me other than the cats. So it just seems like the past few weeks have just been a little crazy, but what else is new? So anyway, thanks for joining. I'm glad you're here, and let's get right into it. So a couple of weekends ago, a friend of mine invited me to go to an in-town sewing retreat that is hosted by the Dallas Quilt Guild. And I'm not a member of the Dallas Quilt Guild. I am a member of the Dallas Modern Quilt Guild, but you don't have to be a member to go and sign up for and enjoy the in-town sewing retreat. So a friend of mine invited me, and when I heard about it, I was like, hell yeah, I'm all over that. So basically it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they have a location booked, and it's basically like 10 a.m. to midnight on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday 10 a.m. till like 3 or 4, and it's like $35 for the whole weekend. You get your own like 6-foot table, so you can spread out, and they have cutting stations set up and ironing stations set up, and for the price, you can't sneeze at that. So plus then you get to go home and sleep in your own bed. If you forgot anything, you can grab it that night and bring it back the next day. So I went to that a couple weekends ago. It was like the first weekend in June, and so much fun. I met a lot of very nice ladies. I got to spend some time with some ladies that I knew from either my needlework guild or from the quilt guild. So it was a ton of fun. I'm so glad I went. I'm so appreciative of my friend Mary inviting me to go. So I will definitely be going to that again. Just wonderful. Anyway, so as a result of going to the quilting retreat, I was able to finish my Tula squirrel quilt. So I thought I would hang it up behind me so that I could kind of show it to you, because otherwise it would be ridiculous to try to show it. So when I got to the retreat on Friday, and I took the day off, when I got to the retreat Friday morning, I had all of the squirrel blocks cut, and I had the solid strips around them, and I had the alternate blocks. I had like the center portion cut and pieced, so I was able to kind of sit down and knock out the rest of the blocks and then start sewing them together. And it's got two borders on it. So the inner border is this this lazy chevron, and then the outer border, which you can just barely see right there, is this the bee's knees print. And so I was able to get it all done, all sewn together on Friday, with the exception of getting that outer border on. And then Saturday morning I got there and boom, got that border on, done. So I'm very, very happy with it. I'm thrilled to have it done. I love the way it looks. I got tons and tons of compliments on it, and I'm thrilled. And again, all of the fabrics are from Tula Pink's The Birds and the Bees line, which is a few years old. So anyway, I'm just thrilled with it. I'm so happy. So that's my finish for this time. It is my only finish to share with you. I have not had a ton of time to be able to stitch or knit or sew or anything other than the sewing retreat. So I'll show you my works in progress here in a minute. But anyway, that's my one big finish. And the backing fabric and the binding fabric that I have is Denise Schmidt Chicopee, and it's that plaid that's got that kind of dark background, and then that citron, bright yellowy green plaid, and it's going to look fantastic. I'm really excited about it. So now to scrape together some money so I can have it quilted. Anyway, so the other thing that I worked on during the retreat weekend was I brought along my Marcel medallion, and I have not worked on it in forever and ever, because I got to the point where I was going to work on the next thing I had to do was the triangle border, and I was terrified of doing it. So I had cut out all my little triangles of like one color that I was going to do. I hadn't really decided on the alternate color that I was going to do for them, and I was just kind of stuck. So a couple of weeks ago, like right before the sewing retreat, I guess it was the weekend before the sewing retreat, I actually had to go to the quilt shop to get a couple of things, and they had Prairie Square by Katie Jones there, and so I got one of her, actually I got a couple of her fabrics from Prairie Square, and so one of them I got home and I looked at it and realized, I think this is going to be perfect. It would be absolutely awesome for using with those triangles on that border. So I brought that with me and decided I'm just gonna, while I have kind of uninterrupted time that I can really sit and be patient and work through it slowly, I'm gonna bring this with me. And I apologize, you guys, my allergies are awful today, and I'm pink because of it. So anyway, I apologize that I'm a little verklempt. So anyway, so I brought my Marcel medallion with me and worked on it, and I managed to get the triangle border on and the next border, so I'm super thrilled with it. So here's the, I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can kind of see that. Anyway, so this fabric, the pink and the yellow, this is, I think it's called the Shambles, and it's Prairie Square, and and it just worked perfectly with these yellow triangles. You know, I was doing kind of yellow and pink triangles, and little fox. And I just thought it worked perfectly. So I'm really thrilled with it. And there's another little fox. And then that Saturday morning, Mary and I met up and we decided we were going to go to a couple of quilt shops that were over in the area. And so I got a couple different fabrics to look at as possible for these cornerstones. And I ended up going with, this is Tulip Pink Moonshine, but I really thought that that dark kind of raspberry pink, dark kind of cranberry color really was what it needed, because with all of the busyness of the that Priory Square fabric, it needed something to kind of ground it. So I love the way that that looked. I fussy cut a little bit so you could see the butterflies, and I'm thrilled with it. And another little fox. Anyway, so I'm thrilled with that. And then the next thing I did was put the next border on, and I have known for some time that I really wanted to use this Allison Glass fabric. This is called Party Streamers, and I think it's from Sunprint, from that line. And I just loved it because it's that mint and that kind of gold color, and I thought it really kind of tied in this lush uptown, that mint. So very happy with it. And then for the cornerstones, I used some, I think this is from Lucky Penny or Clover Sunshine, one of the two. Anyway, also Allison Glass, but I've decided to kind of fussy cut these cornerstones. So that one has a cupcake in it, and that one has a little paint set with a little bunny. And then the two at the bottom, there's a plane and a stack of books. So I thought that was fun. So I'm very happy with how this is looking. And I'm really happy that I got those, got the triangles on. Very happy. So the next border is Flying Geese, and so I think I want to do a low volume background to kind of pull in this, that white background that I've got going on there, and try to pull that in some. So now I need to just stock up on low volume fabrics so that I can do that. So anyway, I'm very pleased to have that done and make some progress on it. And then the third thing that I worked on while I was at the quilt retreat was I also brought my nightshade fabric so that I could start cutting out my snow globe quilt, my Tulip Pink snow globe quilt that I'm gonna do. So I started cutting for that. I didn't get as far as I would have liked, but you know, I got a good bit cut out. I think it's just going to take a while to get it cut out. And meanwhile, while I worked on this and my Marcel and then cutting out my other stuff, my friend that invited me was working on her swoon quilt, which is with Liberty fabrics and then solids, and she made like 7 of her blocks, I think, over the weekend, so she was really banging those out. But I tell you what, the tip is have everything cut out when you come, and then you can just motor through. So anyway, that's it for quilting for me. Other whips, stitching wise, macaron bag. This is my, and like I said, I've not had much time to knit or stitch or anything, but this is my primitive Wizard of Oz. And there's how it's looking. It's so cute. I love it. So I think maybe since the last time you saw it, I got some more bricks done and I got the monkey done. That's probably about cute, huh? And then my friend Sylvia, you know, she and I have been doing a stitch along on Sundays for And They Send, which she of course finished hers like forever ever ago. But on Thursday or Friday, she sent me a photo of her framed And They Send that she got from a photo from Jill Rensel, who's framing it, and it looks amazing, amazing. So now I'm all, I gotta get it done, I gotta get it done. So I worked all weekend on like really pedal to the metal trying to get this grass fill-in done. So here's where I'm at. And you know, I think the last time you saw it, I was like about here or something. And so I've done all this grass fill-in, which you can see if I let it focus a little bit. Anyway, so I'm down to the pond now. So pond, more grass, and then basically the last little bit, and then it's done. So I'm super thrilled about that. And because of where I'm at, I'm now ready to roll my fabric. So, but I wanted to show you guys before I did that. But it's time to roll the fabric for the last time, which is so exciting. So that's what I had with regard to whips. And then knitting wise, I have been knitting a little bit, which is nice. Outlander black bag. And here is where I'm at on my shawl. This is my Weigh It shawl. So it's coming along. And I just love the colors. They're so yummy. And again, this is the Weigh It Shawl 1 by Susan B. Anderson. And I'm using my signature needles. I think these are 8s. And then this is Yowza, Miss Babs Yowza in Zombie Prom colorway. So I've been so tired and so stressed, and work has been crazy that, you know, I decided the other day that I would pick this up and work on it, which was not a good idea, because you can see where my little macaron charm is. So stitch marker is, that's from Sucre Miniatures. See how sweet. Anyway, I had to rip back because I don't know what I did, but it was jacked up. So I had to rip back, and this was my little mark of how far I had to go back. So I just left it there. So you can see I've made a good bit of progress since then. You know, maybe about an inch or 2, inch and a half, something like that. So I think I'm back on track now, but painful. And I am knitting this for the Around Your Neck cowl that Suburban Stitcher Diane is posting. So I think that goes through, it's, you know, it started like June 1st, it could start casting off. or binding off, I guess, and it goes through August 31st. So I'm hoping that I will have my shawl done so that I can officially enter my first cow. So that's all I have, kind of works in progress wise. Stash enhancement, you know, I mentioned that I got some of that prairie square. I didn't bring it in here other than to show you with on the Marcel medallion. Oh, and the Marcel medallion, if you don't know, is by Alexia Abeg, and it's from her book Liberty Love. So if you're looking for it, otherwise you can just look anywhere on social media and you'll find it. So, meaning you'll find 8 million people have done this quilt. So, so I had, you know, I bought a couple of things when I went to the quilt shop that Saturday morning of retreat for my cornerstones, etc. And then I had the prairie square things, but I didn't bring them in here, so I'll have to show you another time. But the other thing I did order that came in the mail is, I know this is not very exciting, but this is tulip pink, this is acacia, and this is the fabric that I got for my binding for my Diamonds in the Sky. Hexie, or not Hexies, English paper piecing kit that I have not started yet, but now at least I have binding. And then I also got, this was kind of like with the last of the stash sale dollars, I got the Tulip Pink Marquee English paper piecing kit, and it's gorgeous. It's really, it's so pretty. So it comes with the instructions, of course, and it comes with the paper piece templates, and it comes with all of the pre-cut fabrics for it, the solids and the moonshine fabrics. And the thing that I love about this, honestly, I haven't looked at my Diamonds in the Sky kit, but the thing that I love about this is that these are all labeled exactly which ones they are. What I found with my Hex on the Beach ones is I had a hard time telling, you know, what was coral, what was flamingo, what was, you know, this, that, and the other thing. But these all have them labeled, which makes it super, super easy to figure out. So, anyway, so I'm thrilled that I have that. That will be something to look forward to after I finish my Hex on the Beach. And the fun thing too is that a couple of friends of mine have wanted to try English paper piecing, and so a couple of weekends ago we got together and I worked on my Hex on the Beach, and my friend worked on, she started her marquee kit, and then another friend of mine had some of the Hexie kits from I Heart Tulip Pink and in saltwater, and so she started on those, and those are really neat. You know, they're the 2.5-inch squares. It comes with the little paper piece, and I think it's like 100 of them or something. It comes with the paper pieces. It comes with 2 spools of thread and a needle, so you're all ready to go. You can start, just, you know, pop open that box and go. And they're packaged really nicely too. So if it's something that you're thinking about doing and you are trying English paper piecing and you're a Tulip Pink fan, I would recommend checking out ihearttulipink.com and looking at those little Hexie kits that she's got. So, but both of my friends loved doing the paper piecing. They were having a good time, and I got to work on my Hex on the Beach a little bit, so not bad. So that's it for stash enhancement. As far as what I'm reading, which I forgot to bring the book in here to show you. So you'll have to take my word for it. So last time I mentioned that I was in the midst of reading Sublime by Christina Lauren, which is a young adult book, romance, also I would call it paranormal romance because it's basically a ghost story, but it's a lot of fun, really good book, and I really enjoy their writing, and when I say they, it's because Christina Lauren are actually two people writing together, Christina and Lauren, but they write together as Christina Lauren. So anyway, so finished that up not too long after I podcast last time, and I mentioned that I had like 2 or 3 books that I was thinking about starting. I didn't start any of them. So I ended up picking up a book that a friend of mine had lent me forever ago, and yes, I still have it. It's actually the last of the stack that she lent me. So, and all the other ones that I read that she had lent me were fantastic. So I don't know why I was kind of putting this one off, but it's called Kushiel's Dart, and I think it's by Jacqueline Carey. I'll check that and put it in the show notes. It's also on the, if you go to my my blog, over on the sidebar, it always shows kind of what I'm currently reading and what I've read and finished throughout the year. But anyway, it's a thick paperback. You know, it's kind of a Game of Thrones kind of thickness. And so far it's really interesting. It is very political, but not politics like in, you know, American politics kind of way. I mean, this is a definitely like a fantasy genre, but it's you know, it's got a lot of intrigue and politics and, you know, that kind of thing, people maneuvering in court, that sort of stuff. It's really good. It's keeping my attention. I just haven't had that much time to read lately, so I'm not super far into it, and it's probably going to take me forever to read, but I'm enjoying it, and that's the important thing, right? So that's what I'm reading, and next time I'll show you the book. A couple different things I wanted to mention before I sign off. I started watching, speaking of books, I started watching the Bookish Stitcher, her podcasts, and I'm super enjoying them. I really like her book reviews and how she talks about the books that she reads, and really does an excellent job, and she's, you know, just fun to watch, and she's in Texas too, so, you know, I can't resist following and watching a fellow Texas girl. So anyway, so if you haven't checked out her podcast, definitely do. She's a lot of fun, and I'm kind of going back and watching all of her previous episodes too, so that's been fun. And the other thing I wanted to mention is Eric and I just started watching a new show, which we're late starting because season 2 started, I don't know how long ago, several weeks ago, a month ago maybe, and we had never watched it before, so we had to go back and, you know, start with season 1, and then now we're kind of getting caught up in season 2. But it's Penny Dreadful, and I've had several people that had told me, oh, you would love the show, you need to watch the show, it's fantastic, it's right up your alley. And I don't, you know, I guess maybe the thing that was holding me back from watching it was I don't get a whole lot of time to watch TV by myself, which is why I'm so far behind on watching Outlander. So, you know, most times I try to get Eric's buy-in that he'll watch it so that we can watch it together. because then I'm actually going to see it, and it's not just going to sit on the DVR for 10 months. Downton Abbey. Anyway, so we started watching Penny Dreadful, and I absolutely love it. It reminds me so much of the Dracula series that I was absolutely in love with, and they canceled it like after 5 episodes. What I loved about it was, obviously I love vampires and Dracula and all that good stuff anyway, but it was gothic and Victorian, but it also had that whole kind of steampunk, industrial kind of feel to it, which I just loved. I thought it was a very interesting take on, you know, Dracula being more of an inventor, and that kind of thing. I loved that piece of it. It was a very different angle to the story, and I loved the, you know, the costumes and the set design and the whole thing. Absolutely ate it up, and then they canceled it. Penny Dreadful, I think, is a lot like that. It's got that Victorian Gothic feel to it, which I just absolutely love. You know, it's kind of creepy and it's kind of eerie, but it's not. I don't really go in for the horror genre because, you know, if it gets gross and it's just, you know, gore, no thank you. But I love that kind of creepy, eerie, gothic-y, you know, Vincent Price kind of stuff. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So anyway, we're watching Penny Dreadful, and I was telling a friend of mine the other day that I want to be able to pay attention when we're watching it, and so I try not to be, you know, multitasking too much. It's an excellent time for me to knit because I can I don't have to pay too much attention to what I'm doing, and I can focus on the show. Whereas with like stitching or, you know, playing on the internet or whatever else I'm doing, reading email, you know, Eric will say, what do you want to watch? And I am forever saying something other than Penny Dreadful. So he's probably getting this impression that I don't like it because I'm very selective about when I want to watch it. So I'm always suggesting, oh, let's watch this other thing, let's watch this, let's watch that. So I better watch it, otherwise he'll like say, oh, you didn't like this, so I quit recording it. Anyway, so I love it, I love it, I love it. So if you haven't watched it, give it a shot. If you're into creepy, weird, gothic-y stuff, watch it. And it's the other thing that it's doing for me is that I've had this idea in the back of my head for forever, it seems, of a cross stitch design that I want to design myself. And I've been kind of collecting ideas and inspiration and stuff for a long time, and it, like, within the, you know, I hadn't thought about it in a while, but then the first episode of Penny Dreadful that we watched, I was like frantically like scribbling down notes, inspiration and things that I thought about that I would love to put in my sampler. So anyway, if I ever get around to the point of actually starting to design it, you'll be the first to know. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I appreciate you joining, and hopefully, of course I say this every time, hopefully I will become much more regular with my podcasting. One can hope. And in the meantime, you can find me on Instagram under Cozy Egg. You can find me on my blog, at cozyegg.cozyegdesigns.com, and feel free to reach out and say hello. I really appreciate you guys joining in. You can find my video on the podcast on YouTube or on my blog, and eventually someday I'll figure out how to get it on iTunes. If anybody has any tips on how to get that figured out, much appreciated. So anyway, thanks so much for joining. I appreciate it. Hug your dads. Tell your kids to hug their dad. And enjoy your Father's Day. Thanks, guys. Bye.